You're listening to the CIP podcast, the Study ABROADcast Season 3, Episode 4. I'm your host, Eva. In this show, we explore the world of study abroad, offering advice, insights, and travel stories, bridging perspectives and cultures along the way. On this episode, we will be speaking with one of our students who is going abroad in the winter semester. Let's get into it. Today on the show, we are pleased to welcome Hannah. To get started, Hannah, can you tell our listeners a little about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Hannah, and I'm a third-year history student here at the University of Guelph. I'm also minoring in museum studies, and I'm also a peer helper with CIP this semester. And like Eva said, I'm going on an exchange this coming winter semester, which I'm really excited about. And I'm heading to Aberystwyth University, which is in Wales. And I'm just excited to be here on the podcast and answer some pre-departure questions.
Thank you so much, Hannah, for making yourself available for this. What motivated you to study abroad?
Yeah, I think I've always wanted to live abroad. But when I was pretty young, my mom would always tell stories about when she did a semester abroad in the south of France. And so ever since then, I just knew that it was something that I really wanted to do. I also have some family roots in Europe, specifically in Wales, but also in other parts of Europe. Like I thought it'd be really cool to go see where my Nana was born or where my great-grandparents lived in Prague. I just thought that'd be really cool. But also as a history major, I just think that it would be really cool for me to go to the UK and to Europe and just see, like, with such extensive history records and just kind of see how they approach the teaching and the learning of history and just like the practice of it, just to see kind of how they approach it differently than we do in Canada. Also, I'm a museum studies minor, like I said, and I think it'd be really amazing to go to the different museums in Europe and see kind of how they also kind of have different museum programming than we have here, and just learn how different people from different parts of the world approach exhibiting things and everything. Obviously, everybody's going to do it really differently. So I think that's one of the reasons. I have several reasons I think why I want to go, but I think just kind of expanding my understanding of the discipline that I want to enter and how different people from all over the world are going to approach it.
It looks like you chose the perfect program to go. So, Hannah, you found out that you will be going to Wales back in March, more than 9 months before you will actually leave Guelph. How have you felt the time since then?
I've done a lot of waiting, I guess, just I guess like a lot of imagining. It was so far off when I got my acceptance, like it honestly didn't really feel real. So sometimes people would ask me, if I was excited or how I felt about it, and I didn't really know how to answer because it just felt so far off. But also I worked a lot in the summer and, just trying to save up as much as I could before I go. Lots of daydreaming, I would say.
As your departure approaches, what are you doing now in preparing to leave?
Yeah, so I leave in about 2 months. I'll probably leave mid-January because at Aberystwyth their semester starts at the end of January. But for the most part, I've just been doing research, just, a little bit about the town, the university, its history. I also found a lot of people on YouTube, and, they have channels where they talk about their kind of student life at Aberystwyth. And so I thought that it would be really good to watch some of those and hear from other students what their kind of experiences are, what the environment is like there. I'm also really starting to look into planning my trips, and I mean my semester in general, because they have a 3-week break in the middle. But the semester at Aberystwyth is done in June, just at the very beginning of June. So I'm just kind of starting to look at what I want to do, where I want to spend my time. Another thing that I've been doing a lot of is just trying to spend time with my family before I leave. Like I'm going to have a month between when school ends this semester and when I actually leave. So I'm just kind of thinking about how I want to spend my time during my break. Like I most definitely will get homesick. And so I just want to spend as much time with my friends and with my family before I leave.
Awesome. It seems like you are really doing the research about the life you're going to have in the host university. That's really helpful. Leaving makes the time you have now more precious, it seems like so. As of now, what is your biggest concern about your upcoming exchange abroad?
I think my biggest concern is probably that I will struggle mentally while I'm abroad. When I was in high school and during the beginning of the pandemic, I just had a really tough time with my mental health. but I've always had my family like really close by to just help me and to support me. And so this will just be a very different experience being so far away from them. I'm just a little bit worried about maybe struggling again. But like I said, I've been doing lots of research and I've been trying to prepare myself and teach myself more coping strategies on, if I'm feeling anxious or if I'm, feeling really homesick or if I'm feeling really sad, who I can reach out to when I'm over there, looking at their student health services and just kind of preparing myself because I know that it's going to be hard to leave. I know that it's going to be an adjustment, obviously, living in a new place with all these new people. And so, yeah, I'm just trying to like mentally prepare myself to know that it's not all going to be rainbows and butterflies. There are hard aspects of doing a semester abroad as well. I just want to be aware of like all the good stuff, but also some of the challenging things as well.
Yeah, thank you for your answer. I think that for the fact that mental health is covered in your student insurance overseas, that would be a good resource as well. A lot of students worry about the host university application and course selection process. Can you talk a little about how your host university application and course selection went and when those steps were completed?
Yeah, so the application is actually pretty easy. At least it was for Aberystwyth. They just sent me a form that I had to fill out, mostly with just personal information. They also ask you for your transcript, but CIP provides that for you. So all you have to do is send it to them. They also asked me for an academic reference. I don't know if all host universities do that. And like I said, I think it seems like a lot and it can be overwhelming just looking at all the forms that you have to kind of complete. But I think a lot of it is just gathering the documents and then sending them off and making sure that you're sending them off at the right time and you're meeting deadlines. It's not super hard. Like the form that I had to fill out for Aberystwyth was like, my name, my address, my passport information, my program information, stuff like that. Like that's really easy. Like I think it took me like 20 minutes to fill out that form when I actually sat down and did it. So it's pretty simple. For course selection, I'm still waiting for Aberystwyth to send me my official acceptance, so I haven't officially picked my courses. Also, you can't technically register for your courses until you arrive on campus, but you can pick them before you go. But my EPCS form was due last week, and essentially it's just a form where you have to put down the courses that you want to take while you're abroad, and then they get approved by your program counselor here and also by CIP. So, when you come back, those credits will transfer towards your degree. So yeah, like I said, it was due last week and I just picked 7 courses. At Aberystwyth, the full course load is 3 courses, where here it's 5. So, I picked 7, so I have lots of options. But again, it's a pretty simple process. You just have to go on your host university's website and they'll have like the course description there. Like it's pretty easy. It seems daunting and it is overwhelming. It's a lot of information and stuff that you have to go through. But again, it's just meeting deadlines. But also CIP sends out emails with reminders of dates that are approaching. So that was also really helpful for me because, like you said, I got accepted a long time ago. And sometimes if there's such a break in between things, you can forget about applications or payments that you have to make.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Hannah. During the process, who did you rely on most for help when preparing, and what resources would you recommend to students preparing to go abroad? You mentioned a lot in your previous answer, but I think this is really beneficial for our audience listeners.
I think there were a couple people that I really relied on. I mean, the first is definitely my mom. She's getting her PhD. So, she spent a lot of time in universities and she just kind of understands this type of process. And so I often went to her to ask for her help on like clarifying certain forms or who I should contact if I have a question. And she has always been able to help me with that. But in terms of people here at CIP, everybody's really helpful. Jacqueline especially has really helped me and she's really answered a lot of my questions. But also there's another girl who goes to the University of Guelph and then she's going to Aberystwyth as well next semester. And so CIP connected us and they will, if you're going on exchange, you're going to be connected with everybody who's going to the same hosted institution as you in the same semester, which is really awesome. And so essentially we've been, messaging back and forth if we want to clarify something or if one of us has a concern that maybe the other person can address. So that's been really nice having her to lean on. Yeah, I think it will be really exciting when we actually get over there and we can experience then actually being in Wales together and all the new things that come with that. We've been talking about maybe going over there together, so traveling from Canada to Wales, which is very nice and very fun and exciting.
Thank you for your answer. It's awesome that it seems like you are already making new friends before your exchange experience. How have you been preparing for life in the city you're going? Are you making travel plans? Any research you've been doing? You mentioned researching on YouTube, which is quite helpful. And are you studying some Welsh?
Yeah, so like I said, I've been watching those YouTube videos, which has been really helpful. Just social media in general. If you look up your host institution, there will be lots of videos from students there under the hashtag. For the past couple months now, I've been really thinking about what type of traveling I want to do and where I want to go. Something that I really want to do is walk the Camino. My grandpa and my brother did it a couple years ago, and it just seems like a really fulfilling, amazing, like once in a lifetime opportunity. And so that takes like a little over a month to complete. So I'm just trying to figure out if I can fit that into my traveling plans. And, I also want to go to other parts of Europe because the Camino is just Spain. So I also want to explore other parts of Europe. And so, yeah, I just need to figure out what I can fit into the time that I have. So I have been trying to learn some Welsh. I have a Duolingo, and so far I just kind of know the basics. I can read more words than I could say, and I can't really spell some of the words. I'm getting better, but definitely I'm still a very beginner learner. But it's been really fun and exciting, and I really like Welsh so far.
Thank you, Hannah. It seems like you are spending a lot of time and effort on preparing yourself for the upcoming experience. Have you started to think about packing? Do you have any tips for packing for such a long time away from home?
Yeah, I've definitely been thinking a lot about packing just because being gone for 6 months is a really long time, and there's so much that you need to fit into that. I mean, it covers, several seasons I'll be gone for. So thinking about that aspect of it, like all the different types of clothes that I'll have to bring. But yeah, for kind of packing, I've been thinking about those little packing cubes for the better organization and storage. But I also want to get some vacuum sealed bags because you can just make your clothes really compact that way. And I think that's also good for storage, or for if you have to bring a jacket or something that might be a little bit bulkier. But yeah, I just think it's hard to gauge what you need, like I said, because 6 months is such a long time. I've been thinking about probably starting my packing process earlier, like a couple weeks before I go, so then I can pack and then think okay, is this what I actually need? Maybe take a couple things out, put something different in, and then really kind of work my way down to just the absolute most basic things that I need.
Thank you. It seems like an evolving process to get everything ready, but you will get there for sure. Do you have any final advice for students who may be interested in studying abroad at the University of Guelph?
I think my advice would be just to do it. If you're interested, just take the chance, take the leap, and just kind of go for it. I think this is such a unique time in our lives, where we're young and we're in university and we don't have as many responsibilities as we're going to have after we graduate, like a full-time job or maybe even starting families. It's the most opportune time to do something like this, to live abroad, to meet different people and live in a different culture, maybe learn a new language. When are we going to get the chance to do this again? Maybe never. So I just think it's good to really take your life by the reins and seize the opportunity that's in front of you. I haven't gone yet, so obviously I don't really know what the experience is actually like, but I just think that it would be great. I think that, yeah, just do it, I guess. That's my advice.
Thank you very much, Hannah, for the informative interview. I think this is quite beneficial for a lot of students who are thinking about going abroad. Well, that is all for today's episode of Study ABROADcast. Don't forget to explore your own study abroad opportunities on CIP's website, uofg.ca/CIP. Or follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Our Instagram handle is CIP_Guelph. Thanks for listening, and thanks to Hannah for sharing the wise insights and stories. Stay tuned to our next episode where we look to unpack the study abroad experience even further.